and welcome back to the Cupcake Jemma channel with me, Gemma, and I've got a really delicious, very special cupcake for you today. It's a Millionaires cupcake and it is so good. It's a really dense, rich chocolate mud cake with a buttery shortbread base. It's going to be filled with butterscotch sauce, topped with butterscotch Swiss Meringue Buttercream, which is so silky and delicious and yummy. And then I'm going to stud it with little bits of shortbread, dip it in chocolate, and just because, you know, I'm a millionaire just for today, I'm going to put some gold leaf on it because I feel like that's what a millionaire would do. So let's crack on, shall we? So the first thing I'm going to do is make the butterscotch sauce because I want that to cool down. Obviously, anything butterscotchy or caramel gets really, really hot and we're going to need to make buttercream with it. We don't want to do that when it's hot. So I have a medium-sized saucepan here. I'm going to start by putting my light brown sugar in. So I have 115 grams of light soft brown sugar going in there, and then I'm going to add 115 grams of unsalted butter, and then just get that over a low heat. Once it starts to melt, you can get your spoon in there and just give it a stir, and keep on stirring it because sometimes the butter does split out. Don't panic if it does, it's perfectly normal. Keep on stirring it and heating it until all the grains of sugar dissolve, and then you can turn it off the heat and get your cream in there. So I've got 300 grams of double cream. I'm going to pour a little bit in at a time, just stirring it gently. Don't forget this is very hot, so do mind your fingers. Keep on pouring the double cream in and stirring it, and then you can add half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and a good pinch of salt. Stir that in and then get it back onto the heat. So over a low-medium heat, you want to keep that cooking for about 5 minutes until a sugar thermometer reads between 100 and 105 degrees Celsius. So when it hits the right temperature, you want to, well, wait a minute while it bubbles away because it will be really, really hot. But then when the bubbles have subsided, you want to pour it into a container. Now, because I want this to cool down quickly so I can use it later, I'm going to pour it into a tray. And then just leave that to cool down completely before putting it into the fridge to chill. While my butterscotch is chilling, I am going to get on with the sponge. So this sponge, as previously mentioned, has a buttery shortbread base. Now, all power to you if you're going to make your own shortbread, but I'm using shop board today. You do whatever you need to do, but you're going to need 100 grams of crushed shortbread crumbs. And then I'm adding 15 grams of melted butter and a tablespoon of golden syrup. If you can't get hold of golden syrup, you can use corn syrup. And then just using a spoon or a spatula, just mix that all together until it's all really well combined and you've got a kind of wet sand consistency. And once you've got a nice sandy consistency and you feel like you can make a sandcastle with it, you want to grab a tablespoon measure and pop a tablespoon into each of your cupcake cases. And then just using a rolling pin or something similar, just press that down firmly into the bottom of the case. Now you can just leave those to one side while you get on with making your chocolate batter, and I'm making a deliciously dense, rich chocolate mud cake, which is really tasty, and it all begins in a saucepan. So grab yourself a medium-sized saucepan, small to medium, and you're going to put some brewed coffee in there. So I've got 50 grams of coffee. I'm going to add 100 grams of unsalted butter, and 125 grams of dark chocolate. I'm using 70% here. And then over a really low heat, just melt that all together, stirring it constantly. You don't want it to get too hot because otherwise it'll make the chocolate really bitter. And when it's all combined, you can turn it off the heat and just let it cool for about 10 minutes. So while that's cooling down, you can get all your other bits and bobs ready. So I'm gonna sift my dry ingredients together. So I've got 150 grams of plain flour here and 30 grams of good quality cocoa powder, and then 215 grams of caster sugar, and then a quarter of a teaspoon of bicarbonate of soda and a quarter of a teaspoon of salt. And then just shuffle that all through the sieve and then give it a little whisk as well to combine. So pop that to one side, grab another bowl, and this is where we're going to mix our wet ingredients. So I've got 2 large eggs. To that, I'm going to add 45 grams of vegetable oil and 75 grams of buttermilk, or you could use yogurt instead if you don't have buttermilk. And then once that's all in, give that a little whisk as well. Now by this point, your chocolate mixture should be just about cool enough, so you can pour it in with your eggs. So do it slowly, a little bit at a time, just in case it is on the hot side. That way you can temper your eggs. Just mix it all together with your whisk. And when that is all lovely and smooth, you can add your dry ingredients to your wet ingredients and whisk it all together. Lovely, look at that. Ooh. Now, obviously this is quite runny, so I highly recommend you employ a jug in this case, or a piping bag if you prefer, to distribute all of this batter into the cupcake cases. So you want to fill them about 3/4 full, but you might end up not using all of your batter, or you can like bake an extra 1 or 2. It's just that we've obviously taken up a little bit of the space with the shortbread base, so don't be alarmed if you have a bit left over. But these need to be baked at 170 degrees C for 18 to 20 minutes. So check them at 18. You want to give them a little push. They should be nice and springy, and a skewer should come out clean from the middle. So we're going to leave these to cool. Turn the oven off to save on the energy, and get on with making the Swiss Meringue Buttercream. So that's why I have a steaming hot pan of water here. So I'm going to start by mixing my egg whites and my caster sugar together, just briefly until they're combined. So once that's mixed together, you can pop it onto your bain-marie over a medium heat, and then just heat that for about 5 to 8 minutes, stirring it occasionally until all of the grains of sugar have dissolved. You can check that just by rubbing it between your finger and thumb. Then you can transfer it to your mixer with the balloon whisk attachment and get it whisking on a medium-high speed. And you want to keep that going for about 10 or 15 minutes. And what you'll end up with is a really glossy, white, thick mixture, which is cool to the touch. Now it's time to put the butter in. So your butter needs to be nice and soft. I've got 360 grams of soft butter here, and I'm going to add it a little bit at a time with the whisk going round really fast. And when all of your butter is in and it's looking really nice and silky smooth and a spreadable consistency, you can add your butterscotch. Now, it's up to you how much you put in. It will affect the consistency a little bit, and I ended up putting about 180 to 200 grams in. So just test it every now and then for flavour and texture, and when you're happy, you can stop adding butterscotch. Right, everything's ready. I've got my leftover butterscotch sauce in a piping bag. I've got my delicious, very subtly butterscotchy Swiss Meringue Buttercream here in a piping bag with a round nozzle. And I've also got my little nuggets of shortbread biscuit here. I've tried to be as cubey as possible, but obviously they're short and therefore they crumble a lot. So it doesn't matter too much if they're a bit messy, but they're ready. So now I've got my trusty apple corer. I'm gonna get their innards out, but save them obviously because they're a great little snack. Now obviously don't go all the way down right to the case because that will mean you'll cut out a bit of your shortbread base, which means that when you put the filling in, it'll go all soggy. We don't want that. So I'm going to fill these holes with a lovely butterscotch sauce. And then once you've filled all your case, you might have a little bit left, which is great because then you can put it on your ice cream. But I'm going to top these with a nice chubby blob of my Swiss Meringue Buttercream. And now you can get your little nuggets of shortbread and just, you know, however many you want. Doesn't have to be loads, doesn't have to be a specific amount, but just you want to push them in a bit. You don't want to just have them like sort of just touching the top because we are going to dunk these in chocolate. So they do want to be sort of snug. All right, my last one, all nuggeted. I think that's the right word. And now, because we want to dip these, we definitely don't want to attempt dipping these in melty chocolate right now because they'll just fall into the chocolate. So I'm going to put these into the freezer for about 10 or 15 minutes. I don't want them to freeze solid, I just want the icing part to be really firm. Let's go. So So these have had about 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes in the freezer, and they're nice and chilled. My glamorous assistant Nikki has melted some chocolate for me. And it's not too hot, so it was melted about 5 minutes ago, so it's not like really, really hot, because if it's really hot, it's gonna melt this buttercream way too quickly, and we're all gonna be in a horrendous mess. But anyway, all I'm gonna do is, literally as you would imagine, turn it upside down, dip it in briefly, let the excess dribble off, and then pop him over here to chill. Once you've dipped all of your cupcakes, you can just pop them into the fridge just to set before you go ahead and do anything else with them, because it's very, very wet right now. Here they are, lovely and set. Well, a couple of them aren't, but you know what? I can't wait, because I've got my gold leaf here and we've turned off the aircon so it doesn't all blow around. I've got a really soft brush here, and I'm gonna get my little bit of gold leaf, pick a little bit up, and then just dab it on a couple of the nuggets. I feel rich, I don't know about you. These cupcakes are probably going to be quite rich because of all that chocolate, but certainly because of all the gold. And I think it's going to be a cut-through moment for me, because do you know what? I've had enough of talking to you guys with like chocolate and crumbs all over my face. It's really embarrassing. So I'm going to be a bit more civilized. But let's look. So I'm going to peel them off. Ooh, look at the lovely biscuit base. We've got some really nice layers going on here. And I've got my sharp knife. Let's do it. Ooh. Mmm. 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 Really, really, it was rich. I feel so rich. Really intense, beautiful chocolate flavors. You've got that really nice, crispy, crunchy, buttery thing going on from the base. That really subtle buttercream with the butterscotch flavor. There's a lot of butter going on here. And then of course the butterscotch filling. That's really nice. And then you've got crunchy, and then you've got chocolate, and then you've got more bits and bobs and gold. Guys, I feel like a millionaire, and hope you're gonna feel like a millionaire when you make these. So please do that. Take a picture, put it on Instagram using the hashtag CupcakeJemma, and if you're in the Bake Club, make sure you put it in the Bake chat there so that we can see it and give you high praise. And what do I need to tell you? Oh yes, next week we're doing the live bake along over on YouTube on the 22nd of June. So make sure you are checking out our Instagram feed, because that's where you'll find all the ingredients for what you're gonna need and timings and whatnot. And also, if you're a Bake Club member, we'll be doing an Ask Me Anything straight after that live. So if you have been dying to ask me something, then make sure you get a pad and pen and come along for that. Anyway, I need to eat more cake, because I actually only took a really small bite there because I was trying to like preserve my modesty. So I will see you soon. Bye.